In this example, I'm going to talk a little bit about point elasticity and how you can use it. And it's a good tool if you have an equation for the demand curve. And if you have a normal product, the demand curve, as we know, is downwards going. So it's a slope with a negative number. Normally we write it like this: AX plus B, where we have the intersection up here at the p-axis is the B, and the A is the slope, the change in price over the change in number of units sold. For instance, the change in price over the change in number of units sold. That's the slope. This is the ordinary. If we take the cigarette example, we had a slope that was -1 over 3 million packs of cigarettes times X plus 140. So B in that case will be 140, and the slope A will be -1/3. Okay, that's what we know. So if I'm going to continue and deduce the point elasticity, we start out by looking at the normal elasticity, where the price and the number of units are linked together. So at a certain price, you're selling a certain number of units. So if you change the price, you will also change the number of units sold. And that would normally be a negative number, because if the price rises, the number of units sold will decrease. Okay, from video number 2, we learned a little bit of tricks. So we know that P times the change in X are linked together, and we also know that those two are linked together, the change in P and X. So we have X times the change in P. And what we knew from before is AX is the change in P over the change in X. That was the slope. And that's exactly the opposite of that one. But we know that this one could go down here, so we can actually use a little bit of math by saying P times 1 is the same as X times the change in P over the change in X. So now I have had the chance to change it. So this one and this one is equal. Okay? So P is actually the same as 1 over the slope times the number of units sold. To make it even easier, if you have an equation, you can use that P is equal to AX plus B. So if I isolate AX, I know that AX is equal to P minus B. So I can erase that one and replace it by P over P minus B. And that's the point elasticity. So let's take the cigarette example again. Back to that one. Let's see if we can find some point elasticities here. Okay? EP is equal to that one. So let's look at 3 different prices. We know the intersection is 140 because the equation was -1/3 X plus 140. So let's see, what is the price elasticity at a price of 40? Well, using that equation, we get 40 divided by 40 minus 140, which is the intersection. So we get 40 over 100, and then a minus. So that would be minus 0.4. And that's inelastic, meaning that if you rise the price by 1%, the deduction in the number of units sold will only be 0.4. That's not a lot. If you change it to the price that you have today and change that to 50, you have 50 divided by 90, minus 90, and that gives you minus, I need to calculate it for that one, 50 divided by 90, and that is 0.5, a little bit higher, but still pretty low. So if you rise the price in this area, the effect of the number of units of cigarettes sold is not decreasing that much. You need to get higher for it to have an effect. Like for instance, 100, let's say that we increase the price to 100. 200, what is the elasticity at 100? That's 100 minus 100 minus 140. That gives us 100 divided by minus 40. That is minus 2.5. And you can write it over 1. Normally you only write minus 2.5. Meaning that if the price is risen by 1%, the deduction in the number of units sold will be minus 2.5. That has a huge effect. So if you increase it for instance, you have an increase of 10%, the deduction in the number of units sold is 25%. So that has a lot higher effect. At a price of 70, the elasticity is neutral. 70 minus 70, and that's half the way to take the 45 degrees angle. 45 degrees, you get right there in the middle, and you get the neutral elasticity. So the effect on the price and the number of units sold in that point is exactly minus 1. So that's it. That was point elasticity. Very easy to use. The only thing you need to have is the intersection with the y-axis or the p-axis and the price. So you need the equation, that's it. Take care.